Hi guys, it's that time of the year again where we're faced with a brand new Asus ROG phone. This one is the ROG Phone 8 Pro with no less than 1TB of storage and 24 gigs of RAM. So we have it here and the design has finally changed. This is what the phone looks like now. It's a bit more angular and at the same time it feels both cyberpunk and cybertruck, if I were to joke. So it was freshly unveiled and it's probably the biggest design change ever since the first Rog phone. It took about 7 or 8 generations to get to this point and I'm quite happy with the result. They even made the camera so good that we're starting to think we do not longer need a Zenfone this year. We have here a matrix LED at the backside, similar to the one we had on the lid of some Asus laptops. This is the handset. This is our first contact with the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 processor and it's an unboxing, so let's see what's inside the box. We cannot unveil the price right now, but seeing how you have 24 gigs of RAM, I'm expecting it to be quite hefty. Now, inside the box we have the following things. Okay, so we get things going with this little pouch used for, I'm guessing, accessories rather than the phone itself, because obviously you cannot fit the phone in here. We go further and we find this charger with an USB-C connector. It may look big, but it's not a 120 watt charger, just 65 watts. Should be enough for a 39-minute charge from 0 to 100%. And of course, the new cooler, the Aero Active Cooler X, as they call it, looks like this. Has these two buttons here for, well, controls, they're trigger buttons, and it snaps up like this. You can connect via USB-C, and I'm going to be focusing on it a bit later. And finally, we have this cable here from USB-C to USB-C of the braided variety, and you would think we are done, but there are a few extras here. So let me just put things back in. There are exciting things this year. I'm actually feeling a bit more novelty compared to the previous Rog phones, especially the design and even some changes in functionality. And of course AI, that's the buzzword. Also inside the box we're getting the following, so hopefully I didn't break it. This is a key used to access the slots, the nano SIM ones, and of course we also have a case. Quite a crowded box, I have to admit. So once again we have the Rog Phone 8 Pro version. You can tell which is which because our has the matrix LED at the backside, the regular one has colorful LEDs. This is the case. It's a pretty, I would say, bumper case, pretty much a bumper case, not your average case. And now let's focus on the device and its cooler and all good things. Okay, so in spite of decreasing the footprint of the phone, they managed to keep the buttons. And when I say buttons, I'm obviously talking about the, well, gaming buttons. Can we fit this in? I wonder. Or maybe like this. Yes. Okay, the box has been reassembled. I'm going to put it here and now let's focus on the handset itself. I'm sure you want to look at it. It only comes in one color version, the Pro version. It's called Phantom Black and it's quite glittery at the backside. Not sure if you can see the whole glittering part. Aside from that, it's got glass at the back, aluminum frame and glass at the front. It's more angular than before. Of course, it has the typical USB-C port on the side. Aside from the button USB-C port, the one on the side serves for attaching accessories like the cooler you can see there. Now, aside from that, we have the customizable thingy at the backside, which can show incoming calls, gaming stuff, it can show the time, it can show a timer and more things. The phone is obviously more compact now, but the biggest improvement is the fact that the screen's bezels are much narrower than they were before. So yeah, that's as well important because you're more immersed in the game, and people have been asking the folks of Asus to increase the screen to body ratio for a while now. We even have a camera, front camera, which has been cut in the screen, which we didn't have before, and a very impressive 94% screen to body ratio. And finally I can fit a gaming phone in the palm of my hand like this, and once again check out how narrow these bezels are. The thickness has decreased 8.9 millimeters compared to the Rog Phone 7 10.49 millimeters, and the bezel at the top side, it's a mere 1.6 65mm compared to the predecessor. It's actually 71% smaller than the predecessors, which is quite impressive. And the side bezels are also narrow at 1.67mm as well. And guess what? They even managed to put IP certification here. The phone is IP68 certified, taking dust and water fully. Okay, so the new Active Cooler X. It's here, and let's see how it attaches. So we go like this, we press this, and we're going to attach it. There's sort of an adhesive here, I feel. We're going to be attaching it via the USB-C connector on the side. Hopefully we don't scratch the phone. That's a problem which I always fear. Okay, it's fit right on. You can see it active here. It lights up. It has two buttons. You can already feel the airflow, and it's now 29% less in volume and 10% weight reduced, so 10% lighter. It has those buttons, and I'm not very sure if it still packs a speaker. The predecessor had a pretty powerful speaker. I'm going to have to look that up and come back with info about it. Once you get it attached, you're going to see some features here. Aero Active Cooler. These are the modes: Smart Cool, Frosty, Frozen, lighting controls, disable fan when microphone is active. Quite useful if you're, well, streaming games. Okay, so that's it with the cooler. It provides you with the trigger buttons and an extra audio jack and USB-C port at the bottom. Plus, from what I can see, they still have a kickstand. Let me see how you can actually detach it. Not sure if I remember correctly how to detach it from last year. Time has passed. But yes, here's the kickstand. You can prop up the phone like this. Okay, you get the idea. We're done with the kickstand. Feel free to leave a comment if you actually learn if it has a speaker or not before I do. Even though somehow I have a feeling that this year we're not getting the woofer from last year. We're done with the design. I promise, we're totally done. I feel I insisted quite a bit on it. Now, the display here is a 6.78-incher AMOLED E6 165Hz refresh rate, also LTPO, so it drops down to 1 Hz when you don't need it to be a high refresh rate, Full HD Plus resolution, and I think it's time to move on to the processor inside. For that, I'm going to rely on the IDA app, even though everybody knows what processor is inside. It's the brand new Qualcomm Snapdragon 8 Gen 3. It was announced earlier than any time in the present and the past. It's basically announced in October last year, 4nm, 3.3 GHz, and that's not the only impressive part here. What's impressive is the quantity of RAM and storage. 24 gigs of RAM, LPDDR5X, and as you can see, 1 TB of storage, UFS 4.0. We have the best spec version of the phone. We also have the Adreno 750 GPU in the mix, and we also have something to show its prowess. So there's something called ray tracing here, and you can try it here as a demo. This is an image without ray tracing, and this is with. Pay attention. It's all about the reflections, and it's all about the behavior of light and shadows, and details, of course. That's just one example. It's actually nice to have a tips app, so you can find stuff about the active cooler, the wireless charging, the AI grabber, anime vision, background mode, game display, X-Sense, and so much more. Okay, we're done with the innards of the phone. I should probably mention some configs. 12 gigs of RAM paired with 256 GB of storage, 16 gigs with 512, and 24 with 1 TB. The battery inside the handset is a 5500 mAh unit with, you guessed it, 65 watt charging. That's via wire. And also QI 1.3 wireless charging. You should be able to reach 100% charge via wire in 39 minutes. And by the way, on paper you're getting 22 hours of Netflix or 14 hours of TikTok. On connectivity, we have the 3.5mm audio jack here, USB-C here, another USB-C here with display port, 1.4 if I remember correctly. There's Wi-Fi 7, there's Bluetooth 5.3, there's 5G, there's also GPS dual band, and I think I mentioned NFC already, or maybe I didn't. Now, when it comes to the connectivity, We are treated here with, as I said before, USB-C, Wi-Fi 7 and the works. When it comes to security, there's an optical fingerprint scanner, but I actually went ahead and opted for the face unlock because it's easier to do when you're doing an unboxing. So yeah, believe me. Stereo speakers are available as well, and I think it's time to move on to the camera, which honestly for a gaming phone feels a bit overkill. I'm going to start with a 32 megapixel selfie camera, which has an up to 90-degree angle of capture, and then at the back side, surprise, a familiar face. The main sensor is a Sony IMX890 50 megapixel. We've seen it before on the OnePlus 11 and the OnePlus Nord 3, and it has a gimbal for stabilization. Quite impressive. 30 megapixel ultra wide camera, 120 degrees, 32 megapixel telephoto camera with 3x optical zoom and optical image stabilization. There's the LED flash here and a very cute looking module, one of the cutest looking modules I've seen, camera modules, perhaps mimicking some aspects of the iPhone. Now, the stabilization we are talking about here is of the 6-axis variety, and there was a demo here. When the gimbal is active, the stabilization icon will be displayed on the camera preview. So, 6-axis hybrid gimbal stabilization. The modes of the camera include panorama, not panorama, pro, night, and pro video. There's also a light trail with a few extra features, which may have been useful for your New Year's Eve. This is actually panorama, this is portrait, this is photo, and this is video, which can go up to 8K, only in 24. Time-lapse, slow-mo are part of the package. And I'm guessing that there should be some AI magic here happening every now and then. And here are some extra features as well. Stabilization can be adaptive, off, or the extra stabilized one. Of course, LED flash available here as well. Okay, so this unboxing is getting quite long as far as the software is concerned. It's Android 14, and there are some AI features here which I feel that the Tips app can help you with. So among those, we have fast forward and AI text grab. This is actually the AI grabber. Basically, you're in a game and you can grab text from it and search it online to solve a puzzle faster. You don't have to type yourself, you just grab it via recognition, and that's quite cool. There's AI noise cancelling, and the fast forward feature actually has me intrigued because I have a feeling that you may fast forward through cutscenes or game thingies. Not very sure about that. Okay, wireless charging is here, I mentioned it, Aero Active Cooler, you know. Anime Vision is quite cool. So if there are two people with Rog phones, Rog Phone 8s, they come next to each other, they connect, and they have this cool little thingy. They change the animation here when they're meeting each other. That's quite nice. You can see here the other features related to the Anime Vision. You can actually use it as a timer for the camera and an indicator when you're filming, and so much more. Okay, other features, the X-Sense. So you have AI recognition in Game Genie for assistance in game experience. It's available in Arena of Valor, Genshin Impact, and Honkai Star Rail. This is the assistant in the game with auto pickup, which I'm guessing picks up items from the floor automatically, which is actually not half bad. And there are a few more things. Yeah, auto pickup is exactly what I mentioned. Okay, there's also open floating windows via heads-ups and smart search in photos and in apps. So you can enter relevant words, not just the name of the app, and you should be done. Of course, the core of an Asus ROG phone is the Armory crate, where there are 3 modes. So you have the game, which profiles. Each game has its own triggers. By the way, we still have the triggers here. You can use them like this in games. They're more discreetly integrated now. They can have the sensitivity tweaked. And aside from profiles for each game, you have the main console with this area that shows the temperature, GPU, storage and RAM, and also the main modes. X mode, dynamic mode, and ultra durable, each of them with their tweaks related to connectivity, refresh rate, and precision of your input, which by the way is very precise here. This is the Anime Vision, and it's the backside matrix you can see here, and it's customizable, and also you can activate it for these things: music, incoming call, notification, charging, screen on, screen off, taking a picture, timer countdown, recording, and playing a game. This is the display area. Some games have a weird aspect, and that's useful here. This is the game Genie, which shows on the screen when you're playing a game. You have options for your game recording, and there's something called X Capture, which records special events. You can mark clip for sharing, and so much more. And these are the air triggers, which can be customized. There are also motion controls and the cooler buttons. So yeah, motion controls as well as triggers, as well as the cooler triggers. So quite a few things. This is the feature area with recommendations of games, compatible with the gamepads, with air triggers, and the Rog Select, basically the best of the best. And there are actually 165 Hz games recommended to you. All in all, this feels like much more than a gaming phone. It feels like a full-fledged flagship which can be easily used outside of the gaming experience. And knowing the Rog phones like I do, I have a high expectation that the games played here will feature very high refresh rate, very stable performance, nice cooling by the way, with a brand new type of material, something called boron or something like that. So yeah, expectations are sky high for the experience here and for it to be used like a regular handset. Okay, now triggering the Game Genie should work like this. Okay, this is how you activate it, and those are the modes you can use: mode switch, dynamic, ultra durable, advanced. This is the game display area. You can set it to field. So yeah, quite a lot of things to experience. Okay, so real-time info, network switch, AI grabber, macro, vibration, air triggers, and more. So place the air trigger buttons on the corresponding areas. Turn on air triggers. I'm tapping them right now. You can see for yourself. They have a gentle haptic feedback when I'm doing this. Okay, that's it in a nutshell. I'm going to leave the rest for the review. I feel I've overshared since the phone has just been launched. I'm going to play some games and be back with impressions quite soon. I'm quite impressed by the design. Finally, they got it right. The Rog phone had personality, but this one is more discreet and more elegant, and I actually enjoy it more as a flagship. That's it from gsn1.com. Goodbye.